Alright guys, this is a 1976 W123 model Mercedes Benz 240D. So the first year that they made these cars. I bought this originally as a parts car, and I may still part it out. I just figured that I would try to sell it complete before I sell it, dismantle it for, excuse me. I would try to sell it complete before I dismantled it, just for the hassle factor. The reason I bought this car is, you can see that there's a little wagon in the back. That's a Eurospec 280TE wagon. It's a German taxi spec car. It doesn't come with AC, and I had ideas about putting AC in it and using this car as a donor car. But now I'm thinking about selling that car as well, so it's kind of the whole idea went away. So I want to get $1,000 out of this car, and I think it's worth it just for the drivetrain. The engine's in really good shape. The body's okay. It does have hail damage, and you can see it there. I just washed the car, but with the reflections of the wet water, you could see the hail damage. So. But apart from that, the body's still pretty solid. The only real rust that that's visible is right there on that wheel arch. But the rest of it is okay. Paint is very faded, and I don't know whether anybody would want to even think about restoring this car, but if you do, then you're going to need to give this car a paint job. I did actually buff it here in this area when I first bought the car, which is a couple of years ago, and it still held up. But I don't know. Sometimes it's just better to paint. I'm going to show you the trunk, because as I figure out which key it is, because there is a little bit of surface rust on the trunk, and it's just there, and that's really because the rubber, what's it called, the rubber gasket's failing and letting water in. Mechanically it's in good shape. The slave cylinders are out, which makes this car all kinds of fun to drive, and the glow plugs are out actually, so battery's dead on it as well. So the clutch slave cylinder is basically dead, and as a result, you can start the car in gear, or you can start the car in neutral. But if you start the car in gear, you just better be ready to start driving. And I just have it parked inside the back of the building, so I just pulled it out and just managed to do that in gear. It will start with a jump, even though the glow plugs are not working. The compression on this engine is so good that it will start by itself. And I'll bring my jumper box in a second, and so that you could hear it run. But before I do that, let me go around the rest of the car. The car's kind of filthy. The window handles are there. You can see there's one on the floor here, but they need that little retaining clip. And the car is, the seats are intact, but they're not great. Back seats are okay, not great. I mean, it's a parts car, or $1,000 car basically. It's not anything to shout at, but if you guys don't know, these cars, is that they can drive forever, even in this condition. So if you just want a cheap run around, a veggie fuel, knock around, or if you just want a good engine for your worn out 123 motor or 115, you'd have to do a little bit of modification. This is a nice drivetrain to have. And then you could do what I did. Once you pull the drivetrain, you could just dismantle the rest and sell it. I just, I have too many projects right now, so I don't want to spend any time on this car, but I will if I don't find a buyer for it. So I'm going to turn the video off. I'm going to start another video up with the engine starting. That way, if I decide to dismantle it, I can just have a video with the engine running. All right, thanks. So 1976 Mercedes Benz 240 diesel. It's a 123 body style, first year that they made these cars. Odometer shows 107,000 miles. I don't know whether that's accurate, but the glow plugs are out on this engine, and even though I hadn't ran it in probably a couple of years, this thing fires right up. So I'm just going to start it right now. I've got a jump box on it. The jump box is the battery's dead, so I need to jump start it. It was driving and running up until I guess 2014 sometime, by the looks of it. But I've owned it for a couple of years and I haven't driven it. I initially bought it as a parts car, and I wanted to show the engine running before I dismantled it. So you'll hear it right now. The transmission's actually in good shape as well. It's a 4-speed manual, but the clutch slave cylinder is bad. As a result, it's the thread on the bleeder screw that's bad, and it just won't thread properly. So you can bleed it; it'll function fine, but then eventually it will drain the brake fluid out of the slave cylinder, just because that bleeder screw won't seat properly. So I'm just going to start it in neutral. I can still drive the car. I just have to, and actually, as a matter of fact, just now, just to bring it over here where I bought the car and washed it, I cranked it on a dead battery with a jumper box in first gear, and it fired up and let me drive it over here. So that's how good the compression is on the engine. But let's go and hear it run. You can see 107,000 miles. Go plugs, you can see they're not working, but even though. Oh, well, let me see if I turn the jump box on. That sounds kind of weak. Jump box is off. Let's try that again. So you can see the engine's cold, fired right up. The diesel in here is probably about 2 years old. Can't do anything about that, guys, sorry. So we'll check for blow-by. Doing the dance, but it's not too bad, right? All right. So now, because the clutch is not working. Alright, so my batteries, sorry, my memory on this phone is limited. So here we are. So I'm going to have to start this car in reverse so I can park it where I need to park it. And even though you can see the car's in gear, it's in reverse, this thing is going to start. split steering. I'm going to park it and shut the engine off as soon as it hits its spot. And there you go. So there you have it. You know, it's 1976 Mercedes Benz 240 diesel. As you can see, it runs and drives, you know, even with bad glow plugs and a dead master cylinder, you can't kill these things. If you're interested in it, let me know, and hopefully I can find it a good home. Otherwise, I'm going to dismantle it, and you guys can buy the engine from me.